All right, this is going to be a part 2 of my previous video on exercises and stretches to relieve back pain. So at the end of that video, I talked about in the last exercise when I was talking about that bird dog exercise, and if you have no idea what I'm talking about, then I'll leave a link in the description below and you can check out the video I'm referring to. But in the last part of that video, I talked about this bird dog exercise and the importance of strengthening your back in order to keep your back pain-free, because stretches are really good, they feel great, and they're a good way to get some relief for your back pain. But if you really want that long-term relief and you want to make sure that you not only get your back to feel better, but you get it to stay better so that you never get back pain again, then strengthening your back, strengthening your core is going to be one of the best ways to be able to do that. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that in this video. The first exercise we're going to start with is called a front plank. It's a really good exercise to strengthen your core, especially your abs. You're definitely going to feel it there. To do this exercise, get onto your stomach and you're going to get on your forearms. There's actually 2 different ways to start this off. You can start on your knees. So you want to make sure that your back is flat when you do this. You don't want it to be too far up. You don't want to be, pumping the ground. You want your back to be flat. So this is the beginner version. And then if you want to amp it up, you take your knees off the floor and then you are on your toes. And that you should really feel in your stomach. Now, as far as hold times, it's just going to be dependent on your skill level. So you can start anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds. And then you can build up to anywhere from like 30 seconds to a minute, and then you can do several reps of that. So maybe ultimately working up to doing 3 reps of 1 minute holds. And that's a really good way to start off by strengthening your core. One other variation that you can do with the plank is instead of being on your forearms, you can actually just be on your hands. And this is a lot of times what they do in yoga. Totally fine thing to do. If you do have wrist issues, it might cause you some discomfort. I personally just prefer the forearm method, but you can certainly use whichever one you prefer. The next exercise is a side plank. So we've done the front planks, now we got to do the sides. So the side planks help to get the oblique muscles, so the muscles in the sides. And there's 2 different variations on how to do this one. So let's go over the beginner version. You're going to be on your side. You're going to have your forearm on the ground. Your knees are going to be bent. They're kind of at like a 90-degree angle. To start off, you're going to put your hands on your hips. You're going to lift your hips off the floor and then press them forward so that from your shoulders down to your knees should form a straight line. And so this is a good way to start off a side plank if you're a beginner. And then if you want to spice it up and make it a little more challenging, you're going to extend your legs out so that your feet are on top of each other, and you're going to do the same thing. So you're going to have the hand on the hip. Now you're going to press your hips up and forward. And now you should form pretty much a straight line from your shoulders down towards your feet. And this you can hold. It's just going to depend on skill level. But just like with the front plank, you can start anywhere from like 5 to 10 seconds and work your way up to doing 30 seconds. A minute. It just kind of depends on where you're starting at. Wherever you start at though, over time, just try to do a little bit more, and continue to challenge yourself. A couple faults to look for when doing this exercise is to make sure that when you're in the plank, you're not rolling back, you're not rolling forward. One other thing is to make sure that you're in a straight line. I find that people tend to shift their hips back. You really need to squeeze those butt muscles and make sure that your hips are kind of thrusting forward, and that'll help keep you in that straight line. And of course, when you do one side, always balance out and do the other side as well. The hold times and reps that you do should be the same for both sides. The third exercise I'm going to be talking about is a bridge. And a bridge is a great way to strengthen the glutes, strengthen the back, all necessary to keep you out of back pain and get rid of back pain if you happen to have it. To do this exercise, you're going to lie on your back. Your knees are bent, your feet are flat on the ground. Your hands can just kind of be down by your side. And then to do the exercise, you want to squeeze your butt muscles and then lift your hips up off the ground. And you want to try to go as high as you can. And then you can hold this anywhere from like 5 to 10 seconds and then come back down. And then you do the same thing. You squeeze the butt, lift up, off the ground, hold anywhere from like 5 to 10 seconds, and then come back down. Now if this is easy, and you're like, Josh, come on man, let's get a little more challenge. You can up the challenge by raising one leg off the ground and then doing a bridge. So basically, when you do a single leg bridge, you're working the side of your body where your foot is planted. So in this instance, with my right foot raised, I'm working a lot on my left glute and left side of the back. And then once you do anywhere from say 10 to 20 reps, you can switch and do the other side. And now the focus is on the right side of the glutes and back. Just make sure that if you're doing the single leg variation, you don't want like any sort of weird rotation. You want to make sure that your hips are pretty much square to each other and symmetrical. The next exercise is called a Superman, and the Superman is an awesome way to strengthen your back. And it's pretty simple to do. You're just going to lie on your stomach, and hopefully I don't run into the wall, but you're going to have your arms in front. So ideally you want your arms straight out ahead of you, and then you're going to do two things at the same time. You're going to lift your arms up, and then you're going to lift your legs up. So you're going to lift up and then hold for anywhere from like 5-10 seconds to start off with, and then come back down, and then you come back up, hold for like 5 to 10 seconds, and then come back down. Now, if you want to challenge your endurance a little bit, you can certainly work your way up to doing 20, 30 seconds, and then doing like 10 reps. But I would start with the lower end, especially if you're not used to it, and then over time, just build up to where you can do some of those higher holds. One fault to be aware of is that when you do a Superman, you don't want to like arch your neck up really far, because your neck isn't going to like that very much. So when you go, I would actually look maybe a little bit forward of where your nose, maybe like 5 inches ahead of where your nose is. And that's a pretty good spot to focus on because it keeps your head in a fairly neutral position. All right, the last exercise is a lunge. And lunges are great at building glutes, legs, core. I mean, lunges just do everything. They work pretty much your waist down. So I really like doing them because they even challenge balance a little bit. You're not going to see my face as I do this, so but you know, you'll see the stuff you need to see. So to do this exercise, you're going to be in a standing position, and you can either do a forward lunge or a backward lunge. So I'll tell you what, why don't I show you a forward lunge first? To do that, you're just going to step one foot out, and then you're going to come down, touch the ground with your knee, and then come back. And then you switch. So you step forward, and you want to step forward a good distance, and then lunge down, the knee kisses the ground, and then you step on back. A good rule of thumb is that when you lunge, your knees shouldn't be like super past your ankle. So you should step out far enough to where when you dip down, your knee is kind of over your shin. I mean, it can go over a little bit. You just shouldn't be super far over your ankle. Now, one other variation we can do is called the reverse lunge, and I actually prefer this one better. So let me show you the reverse lunge. So you're going to be in that standing position, and this time, instead of stepping forward, you're going to, yes, you guessed it, you're going to step back and then lunge down and then step forward. And then you're going to step back with the other leg and then come forward. Now, one fault to keep in mind, when you step back, you don't want to be hunched over super far forward. You want to keep a nice upright torso as you do it. And that will help to strengthen your legs a little bit better and keep your back in a better position. Now, as far as rep ranges go, I would probably try 10 to 15 reps on each side. And if that's easy, you can certainly move on up. And if that's too hard, you can scale down and maybe do 5 to 10 reps. All right, so those are the 5 exercises. Those are gonna really help to strengthen your back, get your back out of pain, and ultimately just keep your back out of pain forever. So we had the front planks, we had the side planks, we had the bridges, we had the Supermans, and we had the lunges. So definitely give those a try. And if you haven't watched my first video on the first few exercises to get your back feeling better and get some pain relief, I would definitely check that out. I'm gonna put a link to the description below. But let me know, have you tried any of the exercises that I showed you today? And if so, how have they worked out for you? And if you found that you have tried out some other exercises that worked out for you, then definitely list some of those in the comments below. All right, if you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. you.